Now, a friend loans you money. But Brother Otis was not really a friend. A friend will see a need and, try to satisfy that need. But again, Brother Otis was not really a friend. I'm just being honest. So I went to him, I said, Otis, I need, this situation and to be into question. Are you sure you don't need? I said, no, this is, we discussed the amount. I don't remember the amount was now, but we discussed it and he said, okay. So the next day or two he came to me, and again, when you have the need, a friend will step in and try to help you meet your need and loan you or answer your request, loan you the money that Brother Otis did. He came to me, he said, listen, Brother David, I know you asked him, borrow this money. He said, but I'm going to give you this money. He said, if you desire, if you feel free, if you desire to pay back, you can. But you don't have to. Consider it again. Now, who thinks like that? A friend would have just loaned you the money, but he didn't do that. He said, I'm going to give it to you. And if you decide to pay it back, I'll pay it. You can. No, I paid it back. But when someone approaches you that way, you feel kind of like just paying you back is not really adequate. I mean, what more can I do? How can I, somehow repay you for your generosity? Because you're not requiring me even to pay you back. I did pay you back, but as I begin to think about that, that is just the way God is. Man. That's just like God. In other words, God is saying, listen, I gave you my very best. For God so loved the world that he gave. Otis so loved me, he gave. He didn't loan it. God didn't loan us Jesus. He loved us so much, he gave it to us. But Otis loved me so much, he gave it to me. And so there's a desire to kind of want to give back. And so what I'm saying to you simply this, the same way you understand how I wanted to give back to Otis because of what he gave to me, that's just a reflection of Christ. Because God gave him to us. You should see feel a sense of a desire down in your heart that, oh Lord, what can I give back to you? God is saying, give me your life. Brother Otis went from a friend status to a brother status. Because a friend just loans you the money. He gives it to you. He's no longer a friend. Otis became my brother that day. Brother Otis, God texted me when he died. And Scott said, this is one of the best people I've ever met. And that just hit the nail on the head. One of the best people I've ever met. I'm going to miss Brother Otis. He was always there for me, whenever I needed him. Whether he was tired, whether he was whatever, he made time to be by my side if I needed him. So I'm just thankful. I appreciate the life he lived. I appreciate his friendship for 20 plus years, and just thankful to God that I was able to know him.
Dave said so much, really how I felt. When Otis first came to the congregation, so many of us know he's really quiet, pretty shy, introverted. I'm an extrovert, and so we just kind of bonded and spent so much time together, worked for Ramon together, and just spent time both at work, at church, and outside of that together. And I saw the life that he lived, and I wanted just to relate a few things about Otis. Brother Dave and I, Brother Otis used to like to get out on the bike trail. There's one that runs from here to Urbana, and there's one that also runs from here down to Yellow Springs. So we would get out on the bike trail and, we challenge each other. He mentioned about, being a biking and all these kind of things. So we would challenge each other. And so one day we got out on the bike trail, and for whatever reason, Otis just felt like he had to be ahead of us. Like, we would kind of keep pace, but we're talking and, we was always talking about the scriptures and Revelation and all kinds of stuff. But he kept shooting out ahead of us. So I'm like, wait, David, is he like racing us or something? He's like, I don't know. I don't know where he's going. So he was out ahead of us, and we were going behind, I think it was back behind KW Beach, and it's really wooded back there. And so as we're riding along, I can't remember if it was dusk or what, we really couldn't see that well where he was at. And so he's out ahead of us, and all of a sudden, his bike starts swerving, he starts doing all like this, and I'm thinking, what is going on up here? I mean, it was like frantic. So I was like, Brother David, man, we got to get up here. I said, to help this brother, I don't know what's going on. I didn't know if an animal had come out of the woods, you know, what was happening up here. And so we get up there, and he was still, you know, just like trying to, whatever it was bothering him. I thought he was getting stung by something. So when I got up beside him, there was this little beetle that was busting around him. And I mean, we never let him. I said, Brother Otis, I said, really, man? I said, now you supposed to be a Viking, and this little thing is intimidating you, man? He said, but Brother Scott, it felt so big. I said, man, look, come on. I said, it was this big. So I never let him live that down. And when he was out in the nursing home, and I went to see him, and a part of me felt bad because he couldn't really respond, but I told that story. And he was doing everything he could to respond. He was blinking, he was sitting up. It was like, hold on, there's another side to the story. And I said, Otis, you can't say anything, right? I'm talking now. But he was a dear, dear friend. There were so many memories like that. Otis, you know, Otis loved prayer. And anybody that knew him knew that he loved to pray. And I remember we would get off work almost anywhere. It seemed like, I don't care what the occasion was, Otis, let's pray. Let's go have some prayer. So we would go have prayer together, and you know, it just really stuck with me. He wasn't a whole lot of talk. He didn't say a whole lot, but I watched his life and I watched his consistency. We would see people on the job, they just loved Otis out there at KW Beach. And Ramon could attest to this, they loved him dearly. And people, ladies would come up and trying to get him to talk to their daughters and all kinds of stuff. And Otis, no. He would just start laughing. You know how Otis, when he was kind of nervous, he would start just laugh. And he was just, nah, I'm saved. And, you know, God eventually blessed him with Sister Victoria. And, you know, as thinking about his life, I was telling Sister Martin yesterday that, you know, we would get off of work and we would go to his house and have prayer. And a lot of people don't know how the young people's service actually started here at this congregation. Otis and I would get off of work and we'd go to his house and have prayer. Well, after a period of time, Sister Terry would say, hey, are you all going to meet for prayer? And I said, yes, ma'am. So Sister Terry had a long list of prayer requests. Pray for this, pray for that, and pray for the other. So we was like, okay, we'll pray for you, Sister Terry. So we started praying at his house, and eventually she said, well, we would like to come. Victoria and I would like to come. And it just started to grow from there. The young people, different ones, would start to come to his house. And after a period of time, Sister Terry said, well, you know, what happens if I can't make it? Then we just have a bunch of young people at his house. Why are we moving down to the church? And we started coming down here in this fellowship hall and started having the young people's meeting on Tuesday nights down here. And it was just by his life and his example, his desire to have prayer, that it influenced so many others of us. And I wanted just to say this in closing, that I appreciate all the comments that were made yesterday. You know, Chris and Andre, different ones that Otis took and invested in. Brother David said it so plainly. He invested something in us. And I think about his life and his prayer, his desire to serve God. And I want to take that and run with it. I just want to read the words to a song. This is an old song we used to sing here in this congregation. It says, we will carry the torch. We will lift high the flame. We will march through the darkness with the light of his name, till the glory of God is seen by the world. We will carry the torch of the Lord. And that's my desire. When I think about Otis, I say, Lord, I want to carry that torch. let not his life have been in vain. All of the influence that he had, let's carry the torch of the Lord. This world needs it. It's very dark right now. And we see it all over the news and everywhere. My desire is to carry forth that torch. And it's the torch of prayer. It's not the torch of saying a whole lot. It's the torch of praying for both the church and our nation. You all keep me in your prayer. Amen. Well, I am the latest addition to the Vikings. And actually, I got saved back in 2009. And before I got saved, I knew that Otis was good friends with my brother that just spoke. And every time I would come to church, once or twice a year, whenever it was, he would always make a point to come and speak to me. My Lord. Now, I didn't know Otis, but he made it a point to come up to me. And every time he would come up to me and say, "Junior!" And I was like, "Hey, what's up, man?" I don't be like that, man. But he was always friendly. And eventually he won me over. Well, when I got saved, after about maybe 2 or 3 weeks, I kept hearing these brothers talk about Viking. So we're out here in the vestibule, and they're talking about being Vikings, and I kept hearing it for, a couple, 2 or 3 weeks. And I'm like, well, they're Vikings. I must be a Viking. And so they were talking to a certain brother, and this brother told Otis, he said, "Well, you ain't no Viking." And I just, for some reason, just chimed in and was like, "Well, you're not a Viking." And this brother said, "What?" And so Brother Otis just fell out laughing. And so at that point, I just decided that I was a Viking. And I was going to decide who was going to be a Viking and who wasn't. So Brother Otis was like, "Man, what is with this dude? Like, who are you, man?" I was like, "Well, I'm just the guy that decides who's Viking from now on." And so Brother Otis never let me live that down. Well, what I started doing was, I told him, I said, anytime I see you do something that isn't totally masculine, I'm going to start deducting points. Well, he started off at 100. He was 100% Viking. And by the time he got done, we was down to like 0.5%. So I was over at Chipotle one day, and this is while I was still single, and I saw him walking out of the clothing store. And he had his wife and his little girls, and he had all this pink stuff. And I'm just watching. He never saw me, so I'm watching. And I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna get him in church." So he looked all comfortable carrying all these pink clothes, and he had his because he's got all daughters, and he's got all this stuff. And I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna get him." So when we got to church, I was like, "Hey, man, I'm not even sure you have any points left." We dropped. He said, "Oh, you wait till you get married." So I told him, I said, "Well, I'm incapable of having girls. I'm gonna have all boys, and they're gonna be Vikings." He said, "Oh, you wait." So I said, "Okay." Well, as time progressed, I got married. My wife got pregnant, and I don't know why she told Victoria that we were having a girl. So Victoria's like, "Ooh, I'm gonna tell Otis. I'm gonna tell him." Of course, Otis comes to me. He said, "Yes, yes." I said, "Well, that's all right. She ain't gonna wear nothing but black anyway." Well, yesterday was my daughter's 4th birthday. Sister Victoria's birthday was yesterday also. I had to go home. My wife said she wants cupcakes. My daughter's favorite color is pink. I'm standing in Schuler's like, "Hey, do you have pink cupcakes?" I told my wife, I said, "Man, if Otis could see this, he would be all over it." But thank God I just had a little son. He's 10 months old. He's a Viking. He's a Viking. He ain't wearing pink, I promise you that. My wife wrapped him in a little pink towel one day because she didn't have any other towel. I was like, "Hey, get that off." You know what I'm saying? I don't want Otis to hear about this. But Brother Otis was just such a good brother. He was, in the end, about 1.5 years ago after his accident, I went into his room and had a little book that you could sign. And I wrote in there that he was the true Viking. Anybody that can go through that? Yes. I haven't been through anything anywhere close to that. And for him to basically be a prisoner in his own body and be able to know what's going on, but can't do anything about it. You can hear everybody talking. You can hear people singing, and we all visited him several times throughout that little over 1.5 years. He was a true Viking. I mean, I'm still a Viking. he's a real Viking. As a matter of fact, I really don't even know what the true definition of a Viking is, but I know that that man right there is a Viking. And I want to thank God for just being here and Sister Victoria giving me the opportunity to come up here. I'm really not worthy to speak on someone like that, but I just thank God for his life and just pray for us.
At this time, we'll have a tribute from Victoria.
My Lord.
First of all, I wanted to thank those that came out to support us last night and today. We really appreciate it. And for those special angels
My, Lord bless.
that walked alongside of us for 18 months and 13 days, thank you. Thank you to my mother-in-law for traveling many, many miles to come.
My
Spend
God.
time with Otis and sing to him, love him. Thank you, Mr. Premier, for supporting her during this journey. To my aunts, uncles, sister-in-law, brother-in-law, nieces and nephews, brother, sister, mom, Littleton, Ruth, no, please accept a ginormous thank you. Bottom of my heart for walking alongside of us during this journey. I have a few memories to keep it light. So I'm a mischievous person, and I like to have fun around the house. And one of the things that I would do was have a water bottle. And having girls, like, they don't like getting their hair wet. So I would chase them and spray them with this spray bottle, and Otis was always my first recipient. So so we would just run, and I would just squirt and squirt and squirt. That's one memory that is really precious. Another memory that I have is my husband would take in different people, and that was really precious. Like Valerie was saying one time how he picked up this random man off the street because I think he needed gas or something, and Valerie was like, "Mom, I was so scared." But that was Otis. Like, if he saw someone in need, he would help. He would help the saints and friends and family. And then one hilarious story. I think this was maybe 4 years ago. Vivian was just a little thing, and she was talking to my husband about her thumb, like her thumb was hurting. And, you know, because of my husband's accent, he would say, "Tom." And so she was like, "Daddy, my thumb is hurting." He was like, "Your tongue is hurting." She was like, "No, my thumb is hurting." He was like, "Your tongue." She's like, "No, my thumb is hurting." They were both serious. It was so hilarious. But anyways, I've had a lot of Gethsemanes that I had to go through.
My Lord.
And one of the Gethsemanes that I had came in a dream. This was February 26, 2018. And the dream that I had was so vivid, I put it in my phone because I didn't want to forget it, so I'm going to read it, I believe. Today is February 26, 2018. I had a dream this morning. Otis and I were spending some time together. He was still in his hospital gown and he had some wires, but we were somehow able to get away. And as we were laying down, I told him, I said, "Otis, I'm so afraid I'm going to lose you." And he waited a few seconds and he said, "I know, but let God do it." Or something like that.
My Lord.
We were not in a hotel room, but it was some kind of a room that we were able to be by ourselves and spend some time together. And then the one part of the dream, he had gotten some rest. And after he woke up, he said, "Oh man, that was the best 2 hours. I had nobody coming to disturb me and I was able to get some sleep." That was just, it was really, like even now, I still see that dream in my mind. Like it was so vivid. That's really crazy. That was another, I just had to, I don't know, pray. A lot of prayers went through my whole being because there's a lot of thoughts and a lot of memories, of course, the girls and different things like that. But God has definitely helped, and I'm very thankful for that. And then also in the program, I wrote something. It's a tribute from your wife. Babe, wow. How can I sum up 12 years of marriage in 2 or 3 minutes? The memories, good with the bad, happy with the sad, and laughter with the tears. To be honest, I can't, but I will try. First of all, thank you for choosing me to be your wife. When we got married on the sweetest day, October 21st, 2006, our journey of life began as a teen. While on this journey of life, 4 little princesses quickly joined us. We enjoyed our Saturday breakfasts with you. The level of noise always seemed to rise when you were around, whether you were tickling, chasing, or just making up weird songs. Bike riding was also a special time the girls spent with you. I enjoyed making you laugh at my